Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I really think we need to talk about what's going on with AMC, about what you can expect with AMC, what's true, what's not. There's a lot of rumors out there, and some of the rumors that I'm hearing can be quite destructive. So we're going to be constructive here in this video because we don't know what's going to happen. Let's be honest. I don't know what's going to happen. The Bears don't know what's going to happen. The Bulls don't know what's going to happen. Aaron doesn't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. Probably the market makers do. But with that being said, there's something very obvious that I think is being misconstrued, and that's what I want to start off this video with. It's the fact that AMC will dump all of these shares on the market the second they're able to. No, that's not how these things work. Okay? They have the ability to issue X amount of shares, right? Which if their outstanding share count that they're allowed to have authorized outstanding is around 530 million. Well, if you do a 1-for-10 reverse stock split and you drop that by 10x, in theory, they'd be able to raise about 450 million shares. But why would they do that? Because let's think about this quite logically. Maybe you issue just a couple million shares when the share price of AMC after the reverse split is very high. And let's do a little simple math. We're not going to get into anything too crazy. But let's say at the time of recording this video, it's Saturday, so AMC stock last we knew was $3.92. Let's just say AMC stock is around $39 after the split. Well, if Adam Aaron wanted to say, hey, we'll just sell 3 million shares, AMC would raise $117 million of capital with a very small amount of dilutive pressure on AMC, especially relative to what we've seen in the past. Now, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, pick your number. It does not matter, right? But I think what makes most logical sense that I think a lot of people are missing is AMC management. They would want AMC stock to go up before selling stock because it doesn't expire. They can issue up to 530 million shares. It could be 10 years from now when they still have shares left that they can issue, or 20 years or 50 years. It does not matter, right? So this narrative that Adam Aaron and AMC is going to unload on the markets, on AMC, the second they get the chance, is really misconstrued. This changes nothing in theory besides the reverse split, right? If think about it like this. If you're an investor of AMC and you held your APE stock, you held your AMC, nothing has changed here besides the reverse split. Nothing else has changed until AMC actually does sell stock and dilute shareholders. The question is, how much is AMC going to actually dilute shareholders? How much stock are they going to sell? And it makes no sense to me why they would come out on the markets and sell 50, 100 million shares when the stock is down, right? They would want the stock to go higher. Now, I think to some degree, if AMC does come out and actually raise some capital and get a really good deal, right? Like I said, like 3 million, 5 million, 10 million shares and raise 100 million to 300, 400 million dollars, that could be a positive thing for AMC stock, because I think about this quite logically as well. If everyone is expecting AMC to dump on the markets, to flood AMC stock with new shares and dilute us, well, what if we get a small fraction of that dilution? Maybe this could be used as form of kind of ammo, right? You don't have to let it all out at once, right? You can pick and choose when you want to dilute. Now, this does have an overarching kind of cloud over AMC, I will admit, but it crushes the short thesis. There's no short thesis left to be in AMC right now. So that's another fact of the matter. The short interest is if you want to talk about free float, in the 100 to 200% range, depending on how many apes still own AMC stock. At the time of recording this video, AMC's live short interest of free float is 27.45%, and you have a 141.71 million shares that are currently sold short. Now, it's harder to kind of bring to a number of where these synthetic shorts are. These are shorts that the market makers currently have because of the option activity, and we've seen a lot of bearish option activity. You have seen a lot of synthetic shorts on AMC stock for quite a while now. So if you just look at the numbers here, if retail still owns 80% of AMC's float, or even 50% of AMC's float, AMC could be short, as far as the free float, 100 to over 200%. The fact of the matter is, everyone was in this arbitrage trade for this essentially announcement, right? The markets have already priced this in. It's not like we're going to actually see the reverse split and then another 25% drop after that. It's already baked in to AMC, and that's why you've seen that 25% drop Friday and after hours. So point is, shorts have a massive short position in which there's really nothing left of this trade. Now, I think a lot of people have also forgotten in the last 36 hours, 24 hours or so, that the cost to borrow fees have made this trade so it's basically unprofitable for these shorts as well. The longer they stay in this trade, the more unprofitable this trade actually is. This 25% drop on AMC Friday does not make up for the 500 or 1,000% or 300% cost to borrow fees that these hedge funds have been paying for literal months. You can break that down as the interest of what they pay every single day. If there's 365 days in a year, those fees are paid on a everyday basis, even on the weekends. If you're simply at 365% cost of borrow fees, you're paying on average 1% every single day. This trade has taken months, right? So even at 200% cost of borrow fees, if you've been in your short position for months, you lost money. So I think there's a high incentive to actually get out of a lot of those short positions. And I think a lot of hedge funds and institutions kind of have the same idea. Once you did get the ruling from the courts, probably a good time to cover on your short position to sell your ape stock upon that news, right? Now, obviously, in after hours on Friday, that's not what you would expect to see. But I'm curious on how AMC trades coming on Monday, if that narrative does take hold, and you might actually see AMC stock bounce pretty nicely. That wouldn't surprise me, and ape stock actually fall. So do keep that in mind. That is definitely a possibility as well. But the way that I ultimately look at this, as the short thesis is crushed. AMC has ammo to raise capital if they would like to. A little bit of capital being raised is actually positive, because that's just, small amount of dilution for a lot of capital, right? And I think people have it wrong. Adam Aaron, AMC, they don't want to sell AMC stock when the stock is at super low levels. Yeah, sure, they would much rather end the party when a short squeeze does happen, although it just the size and scale of AMC and the potential short squeeze, I don't think even Adam Aaron selling stock would end any potential short squeeze. Now, I want you guys to also keep in mind, what are the biggest rallies that we have seen with AMC in the past? It was January of 2021 and June of 2021 as well. Why did the stock rally both of these times? It was because AMC raised capital. Almost every single time AMC stock has rallied, it was because AMC raised capital. So history would also suggest that being bearish right now, especially after a 25% drop, is not smart, especially at these levels. Like, odds are there's probably an 80% chance the next big move is up rather than down. I don't foresee another 20-30% fall from here rather than a 20-30% increase from here, because it's already baked in. Like, we would have to get some news that we just did not expect, for investors to have not priced it in at this point, that is super negative. And I just don't see that. Maybe there's some kind of cataclysmic news out there waiting for us, but that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now. Now, AMC stock is also on the threshold securities list. What we've seen in the past is when AMC goes on the threshold securities list and is on this list for multiple days or weeks, the stock does tend to rally as well. Well, now you're at the record for the amount of time on the FTD list, as well as the or the threshold securities list, and the amount of FTDs that are due as well. So what we seen on Friday was FTDs of about 12.7 million that were due. On Monday, you're going to start off at 11.6 million. You're going to increase to 14 million, then to 13 million, then to 12.6 million, then to 11 million. So all next week is very, very high as far as FTDs as well. And this could be a form of buying pressure. It's not the end-all, be-all that you should hold your hat on. I think this is one of the least most impactful things that AMC currently has going for it. As far as if you incorporate market psychology, I much stronger like the fact that the markets are expecting a lot of dilution. If we don't get that, that's positive. That's more positive than a couple million FTDs being covered on. But that can also have a positive impact to AMC stock nonetheless. And like I said, the option activity has been very negative as well. So there is a lot of synthetic shorts out there, and it makes sense to maybe hedge out your trade if you're holding this all the way until the reverse split. Again, think about it like that. If not, you might as well just cover right now and take whatever loss you have accrued from the cost to borrow fees or whatever small profit that you may have. But even selling out of put positions or buying of call positions could be bullish. And take a look at the numbers. 242 orders totaling $81.65 million with a positive order value of 7% over the last week. There's a lot of shorts that are attached to that via the market makers. Now, if we take a look at the overview of AMC stock, you have a short score of 93, $707 million worth of short positions currently, 27.49% short interest of free float out on loan 38.41%, 198.3 million shares that are currently out on loan, days to cover at 8.4. I think this is one of the most bullish things you have going for us right now. This is telling you that if shorts did want to cover on their short positions, it would take about 8.4 days to do so. Now, this includes shares out on loan, which is about 198 million. So it's maybe in theory a little bit less than this, but this is a very high number. You've never seen numbers this high. Not even back in 2021 was it ever even close to being this high, right? Back there it was less than one day to cover. So we've seen a dramatic increase, as well as that in the cost of borrow fees in the last 18 months. Cost of borrow fees in early 2022 was about 1%. Cost of borrow fees today, trailing 3-month average over here on Ortex, is 253.22%. That is an increase of 22,000%. Just astronomical numbers, okay? And the utilization is at 82 as well. I think a lot of that's just ape stock being picked up by the algorithm. So let's take a look at AMC's chart as well. Things were looking so good too. I actually got duped. I put some money on some calls on Friday, like 30 minutes before the bell. Probably go down in history as the worst trade ever. But I'm confident in that trade. It's a September 15th calls, so I think it'll be just fine. But the timing on that couldn't have been worse. And what would you really expect? The stock was up 5.62% on a Friday when there was no news and no reason for it to be up. This looked like a pre-move before an announcement, and exactly it was, but the announcement was bad. Scammers. The manipulation is so crazy with AMC. It's honestly ridiculous. Now, AMC stock is sitting at $3.92. You're actually not at new lows, believe that or not. That would put the stock right about here. The lows that we seen was back here in January of 2023 at $3.77 per share. So AMC is a little bit above that. You want to watch coming on Monday if we stay above $3.77, or if we fall, I think we could fall as low as $3.50 per share. I wouldn't expect to see a fall to anything under that, especially because we do have positive things happening with the business itself. And I think that becomes the main question, right? AMC is now profitable. Shorts have to ask themselves, on a risk to reward ratio, just taking risk management into account, which they don't do very often, does it make sense to be short in AMC still? Like, is there a reason or an ultimate backstop to be short in the stock? And the ultimate backstop has been, over the last 2 years, we can short AMC for any downside momentum that the stock gets, and we could try to force that downside momentum. But in the worst case scenario, AMC stock's going bankrupt anyway, so we're probably going to make, 100% profits. The stock's probably going to zero, so it's not that bad, right? That was going into calculations hedge funds and institutions were doing whether to short AMC stock or not. And I mean, if you're playing a momentum stock to the downside that ultimately could end up going bankrupt, it's not a bad setup to be in some bearish trades. Well, now that that's not a reality, and now AMC has basically no chance of going bankrupt, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to stay in your infinite short position. The average days out on loan for AMC is like 180 days. Let's go ahead and see this. Free flow out on loan is about 38 days. Let's see. And I have to take some of this stuff off the chart. Yeah, the average days out on loan is 133 days. A lot of these short positions were taken out in, the early months of 2023. It's not profitable to be an AMC short as of right now, guys. So that's what I have for you here in this video. I might have missed something, but these are some of the things that keep going over in my head, like, on an hourly basis, that I want everyone to fully at least understand. Now, obviously, come to your own conclusions, do whatever the hell you want to do. AMC is not going to revolve around what you do. So if you sell your stock, that does not mean AMC stock will fall. If you buy shares, it does not mean AMC will go higher. It does not care what you do, and neither should anyone else care what any individual investor does, because it's not going to move the needle. It does not matter. AMC is going to go through a short squeeze, whether you like it or not, at some point within the next month or two, in my personal opinion. There's just no way that it can't. There's no reason to be short in AMC anymore. That 27% short interest needs to be covered on, and some of those puts need to be sold, and that can open you up to a lot of buying pressure. That's not to mention the publicity that AMC is going to see. There's going to be a lot more people talking about AMC that maybe have not in a year or two, right? There's something new with AMC, and that's unquantifiable, but I think that would overall be a net bullish, right? Net positive. So that's going to do it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.